First one, should Blazers fans be encouraged or discouraged right now? The Blazers won 3 in a row and followed that with 2 games in which they were right there, but ultimately came up short against the Timberwolves and Spurs, 2 of the better teams in the West. So is the glass half full or half empty, Nate?
Well, based on what Jared just said, it would take a lot to discourage Blazers fans. So I don't know if they're totally discouraged after these 2 losses. But I think instead of half full or half empty, I think the glass is full.
And I thought that was the most interesting thing about your answer, that you said the glass is completely full.
This is what they are,
yeah.
I think. This is who they're going to be all year, you know. This is why Neil Olshey was so aggressive in the offseason and trying to get one more all-star type scorer on this team. Because really, as we watch, that's what the Blazers are missing, is another marquee scorer out there on the floor. And that's what they're missing for them to become an elite team in the Western Conference. They're a good team.
Yeah.
They're definitely, you know, a potential playoff team. They should make the playoffs. They're one of the best 8 teams in the West. But this inconsistency we're seeing is because they're just not a great team and they're just not a bad team. Like I said earlier, they'll play great for stretches because things are clicking. And then, you know, someone gets in a slump or a couple guys get hurt and, you know, the rotation gets out of whack and then you lose 4 or 5 in a row. And for them, this is who they are, I think. In the last, 2 years ago, we all remember they won that playoff series. But one thing we kind of forget is they were only 44 and 38 that year.
Yeah.
It was not like they were a 48-win team and got to the second round of the playoffs. We kind of think
you can't ignore that they won that playoff series because Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were both hurt and didn't play.
So I think that kind of, as we think back, you know, everyone's like 2 years ago, second round of the playoffs. I think it kind of clouds our vision a little bit of what that team really was. And then last year, you know, they only went 41 and 41. So for the better part of 2 and now a third of a season, they've been a 500 team or slightly better. Yeah. And that's what they are right now. They're 16-15. So I think what we're seeing is exactly who they are.
I agree with you. I think, though, what clouds it even more for Blazers fans is the way they played the end of last season once Nurkic came over and they had that stretch. You know, they were, 16 and 4, 14 and 6 with him in the lineup. And so I think some Blazers fans, and I got swept up in this as well, thinking that bringing back Nurkic after he'd had a full off season to work out, to get in shape, you know, you're bringing back basically the same roster minus Allen Crabbe, that maybe you're not going to see a 14 and 6, you know, record over the course of the season, but that they'd be better than 500. However, I mean, when we did our season predictions, you know, I was tempted to say they're going to win 50, 51 games, but I went back on it because I just didn't know what you could really expect from this team. And I think we all said 45, 46 wins.
We're all in that ballpark.
Like that. And so if those are your expectations, then why are you disappointed?
Yeah, you should.
Why are you feeling pessimistic? Because that's about where they are. They're a little bit behind that pace, but the season ebbs and flows, and so this is what the team is right now. I mean, they might have a run in them at some point this season. They seem to do that. You know, they have a good stretch. You know, the past 2 seasons, or maybe that happens, and maybe that's how they get to those 46, 47 wins. But this is what they are. So, you know, enjoy it. You've still got a team. I'd put it a slightly past optimistic right now, just because the defense has righted itself. We had that stretch for about 2 weeks where they were playing really bad defense, and at that point it looked like, well, if this team's going to be one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and they're already a terrible offensive team, then this could be a really long season. But the past 5 games, they rank 3rd in the NBA in defense. They're playing good defense again. That Spurs game last night, yes, they lost, and you know, it was a hard way to lose. That shot by CJ looked good at the end, and it didn't go in. But watching that team, you know, especially in the second half and the defense they played, watching Al-Farouq Aminu operate against, you know, LaMarcus Aldridge in the post on defense, the physicality they play with, these are entertaining games. Even if they're not scoring, even if the offense is struggling, it's still entertaining to watch them play defense. So it's hard to feel disappointed. You like them to be better, but this is what they are. So if your expectations are realistic and you're not expecting them to be the Rockets, then you shouldn't be disappointed.
I like that you guys mentioned the identity, because that's, I think, where we're all going to agree on what the expectations were at the beginning of the year, which we were all kind of in that same ballpark. And after this sample size of 31 games, you're starting to see who the better teams are, who the mediocre teams are, and who the bad teams are. And the Blazers are right where we thought they would be. But I will take the side of it's time to start getting discouraged. Something needs to happen already. I mean, if I were a Blazers fan, I'd be sitting here like, all right, this is getting old.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of being in the middle. Like, we need something to happen. We need to shake something up. I'm not going to be the one that goes out and says we need to trade Dame or anything crazy like that, but we've seen it before.
Yeah.
We saw 41-41 last year. Like, this is where they're headed.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer to see something like this where you have so many close games, so many games that could determine, you being a 3 or a 4 seed rather than a 5, 6, 7, or hey, you're 2.5 games out of the playoff picture.
Yeah.
I mean, being 9 or 8, you're one and done either. Basically,
Yeah.
it's the
Being-
same.
Yeah, being the 7 or 8 seed, you're not going to win that first round
Yeah.
series regardless of who you are.
Yeah, and so, like, the more I see these games, these close games, it's like, they've got the ball with, 3 seconds left or whatever. They have a chance to win it. In my mind, I'm thinking this game's over. It's not going to happen. And so I wasn't like that 10 games ago.
Yeah.
But just seeing it a couple of times, and maybe I'm becoming a prisoner of the moment with these last 2 games.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, man. I'm getting discouraged.
He doesn't have that Blazers. You don't have that armor.
I
Yet
know, I
of
need
a
that.
Blazers fan.
You don't have a calloused Blazers heart.
But a lot of fans share your sentiment.
Yeah.
And I think within the organization, I think there's people who probably feel that way. That we've done this now for almost 2.5 years, and the result is, for the most part, the same.
Yeah.
We've made a few changes here and there, but with this group of guys, this is who they are. And maybe it is time to, change the faces that are out there a little bit.
And I know Olshey, made a nice move in the draft and went up to get Zach Collins, but like it's the what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
You want instant production, and I understand there's potential in Zach Collins, and you see glimpses of it when he's out there, but you want something right now.
Yeah.
You see what Kuzma is doing in LA, and you're like, man, we could have had that guy.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah,
Right.
Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, so I mean, you're seeing cats like this where the draft was where the Blazers had to do something, and it's not happening. At least not instantly.
I feel like these are kind of 2 different conversations, though. I mean, because you can be with how they played this season, you can look at their results and not be surprised by what you see, so maybe not be disappointed. But if you're looking at the overall state of the team and how it is now, I think every Blazers fan knows that changes need to happen. This roster is imbalanced. You have some players that don't fit.
Yeah.
And, moves need to be made at some point if as a Blazers fan you want this team to progress beyond what they are right now. And I think that disappointment, even if you feel right now, you can't really be disappointed in that until the trade deadline's here. Because Olshey's not going to go out and make a trade right now. I mean, that doesn't happen in the NBA at this stage in the season. So I think that most Blazers fans are very eager for Olshey to make a move, and perhaps a big move at the trade deadline, especially if the team continues to kind of, play at this 500 level. But the trade deadline's still, almost 2
I agree.
months
There's
away.
still time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time.
And one thing about this team is, going back to your question about this specific team, is one thing is in these losses they've had, because they're 3-7 in their last 10, they're all against good offensive teams. And the Blazers struggle offensively this year. And I told Jared this earlier this week. When I pick games, I look to see how good the off team is offensively, and if they're good offensively, I'm probably not going to pick the Blazers. So it's not the Blazers can't stop that team
I'm
from
going to
playing
come back
well.
to you on this.
Yeah.
when
Oh, I
we
know.
make
I
the
know where it's coming. I
predictions.
know where it's coming too. But listen, the Bucks they lost to 7th in the NBA offensive rating. The Pelicans are 8th. The Wizards are 10th. The Rockets are 1st. The Warriors were 2nd. The Spurs are still in the top half, 13th, and the Timberwolves were 5th.
Yeah.
Those are good offensive teams, and the Blazers, as we see, just can't score enough points right now to keep up with those teams. And their wins during this stretch, Miami 24th, Orlando 19th, Charlotte 21st. They're not good offensive teams. They're not good teams, period. And so the Blazers, beat who they should, and statistically they've lost who they should have lost.
It's
to.
been kind of predictable,
Yeah.
even though the wave is kind of crazy. But when you look at the teams that they're beating versus the teams that they're losing to, and I was thinking about this, it was like, yeah, the Spurs don't have Kawhi Leonard. This is a game they should take.
Yeah.
They should. But even when we went to predict games, and I was thinking back on it, I was like, would you have changed your prediction knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't going to play? And my answer was no. I would have still picked the Spurs.
Jared may have.
I did. I told both of you. I told you yesterday and you 2 days ago that I thought they were going to beat the Spurs now. And they came up short.
But I'm with you. I wouldn't have changed my pick either for them to beat the Spurs. And just in the fact that the Spurs are still a pretty good offensive
Oh,
team
yeah.
even without Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have pieces who could come in and fill, whether it's Kyle Anderson, DeJounte Murray, Patty Mills. They have guys who can score still on that roster. And the Blazers, they're getting great production from Shabazz Napier and Al-Farouq Aminu right now. And Ed Davis, even offensively, is playing well. Same with Yusuf Nurkic, and they're still struggling to score points.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly, man. Okay.